Welcome to Datograms. I'm Jason M. Garrett and I created Datograms to help you win in life. And this one, well, it might at least help you keep your sanity, which in the big scheme of things is definitely a win. So let me ask you a question. Are you as sick as I am of all the screaming and the anger you see all around you? Far right, far left, yelling at each other 24/7 on TV, social media. And on the social media, it's friends you've known for years who have all of a sudden lost their minds, completely lost their dignity by showing their ass all over social media, blasting everyone they know who doesn't support their extreme views. It's exhausting. It's toxic and it's, well, downright disheartening. Well, here in a few minutes, I'll tell you a story from the war in Iraq that explains exactly why outrage spreads like fire today in this country. And later, I'll reveal what's really going on with all those friends of ours who are yelling on social media and why they can't seem to shut up. Stick with me, because once you see the pattern, you won't see online screaming the same way ever again. So everywhere you look, it feels like America is quite literally being torn in two by a majority who can't stop shouting at each other, name-calling, insulting each other. It's frightening. But here's the truth most people don't seem to get. They're not the majority. They're just the loudest. And the loudest voices drown out everyone else. Let's be clear. Most of America, probably 2/3 or more, are in what researchers call the exhausted majority. We're in the middle, and yes, I most certainly am one of them. We don't buy into every far left talking point or every far right crusade. We've got families to raise, jobs to work, bills to pay, lives to live. We want solutions that actually work, not endless culture wars or petty tirades. So why does it feel like the inmates are running the asylum? Because media, politics, and social platforms reward outrage. Anger sells, outrage gets clicks. It's like that old saying in the news industry, if it bleeds, it leads, because everyone wants to see the horror. The algorithm loves a shouting match. So what you and I see every day isn't reality, it's a distortion amplified by systems that profit from division. Now that's why their voices and images are everywhere. But what has me puzzled is why the loud minority can't stop their ranting and raving. I'm not talking about actual news networks that are profiting from all this. I understand profit. I'm talking about our friends and families on social media. What dog do they have in this fight? The only thing I can come up with is that they aren't busy enough doing really important things in their own lives. And there's evidence to actually back this up. Consider, I was in the Navy during the Iraq War, and we studied it thoroughly. After we took Baghdad, we stupidly fired the Iraqi military and their government, which was more than 1 million people. Now, suddenly, we have more than 1 million really skilled and dangerous people without a job. So what did they do? They took off their uniforms, picked up their guns, and started shooting at us. And it was hell. The insurgents just blended back into the population, and it was a hellish hard fight. But here's what we noticed. When unemployment was high, when people didn't have a job like just after we fired them, the violence was high. But when those men got jobs and were busy supporting their families, the violence dropped. Idle men with nothing to do picked up weapons and fought. Those who had better things to do, like working at a job, well, they worked. Proverbs says that idle hands are the devil's workshop, and this definitely proved the point. And I think it applies here too. Here in America, keyboard warriors aren't carrying AK-47s, but the psychology is the same. People without a purpose, without meaningful work or responsibility, pour their restless energy into screaming online, accusing others of wrongdoing, of violating their rights. Outrage is their substitute for a real life. It's their way of picking up a gun and fighting. And it's not just a lack of work for most of these people. It goes far beyond that. There's a lack of purpose. If someone's job, family, marriage, community life doesn't give them fulfillment or satisfaction, then they yell to be heard. And the yelling about politics gives them the illusion of being important. It gives them purpose where otherwise they don't have any. And there's a sense of tribal belonging. Screaming in unison with your side gives a sense of identity that these people aren't finding anywhere else. And there's the addiction. Cheap dopamine. Arguing online is like junk food for the brain. Every like or retweet is a hit, and it's far easier than doing something real, I guess, like, going for a 2-mile run or working out in the gym for an hour. That's why these people keep going. Because when you're not investing in building your own life, tearing someone else's down feels like a pretty good substitute. But people who are invested in their own life have less interest in burning down someone else's. Purpose crowds out pettiness. If you're busy raising kids, building businesses, studying, working, sweating, and creating, taking risks, you don't have time to scream at strangers online. The problem isn't that the world is too divided. Well, not completely at least. It's that too many people aren't busy enough with a real life, and now they have a very easy way for screaming for relevance by getting online and, blasting everyone on social media who has a different view than they do. And all this gets worse during the elections. This dysfunction bleeds into our leadership choices. Think about who actually shows up for the primaries. Do you? It's not us, not those of us in the middle. It's not the exhausted majority. It most certainly hasn't been me and my wife until we finally kind of put all these pieces together and started doing so. For the most part, it's the most fired up. It's the most polarized voices. Those who are radicalized, the very screamers we're talking about here. So what happens? The extremes pre-select the leadership options. By the time the general election rolls around, the rest of us are stuck choosing between two polar opposites, neither of which reflects the broad middle of America. Does that make our country any stronger? Hell no. It guarantees division. Instead of unity, we get leaders who survive by pandering to the edges, and the silent majority is left shaking their head wondering, is anyone ever actually going to drive this thing straight? Here's the bottom line. People with real lives don't have time for screaming all day. If you're busy raising kids, running a business, sweating through a job, or serving your community, you're too busy to waste time yelling at friends and family on Facebook. And that's the danger. The people with no purpose, no direction, and no discipline fill the void with outrage. And because outrage is loud, it drowns out the builders, the very people holding the country together. So what do we do about all this? Well, awareness is a big step in the right direction, because once you're aware of it, you can spot it easier when you see it. But on a personal level, guard your inputs. Cut the doom scrolling, mute the screamers. In fact, while I'm personally virtually never on social media, I hear all about it from my wife. We've got 5 specific friends on there who rant and rave constantly. They cause such a disruption anytime she's actually just looking that she just can't hardly stand it. Finally, she took action the other day. Instead of just muting them, she actually unfriended them. These are people who we have been friends with for more than 25 years. People we love. But we have to guard our own sanity, as they have so very clearly lost theirs. Next, in your community, invest locally. And I mean invest time and energy. Talk with your family more, your neighbors, your church members, the parents from your kids' schools. Build trust where it actually matters. Get to know the real live human beings around you, not just a digital photo and the rantings of someone who's lost their perspective on the real world us normal folks are trying to live in. And culturally, stop rewarding the screamers. Every click is an endorsement. Don't give them your attention. The best way to starve the noise is to stop feeding it. Share substance instead, like my Dadograms. I don't tell you what to think. I'm not revealing much about my political views, and I'm sure in heck not ranting, or at least I don't think I am. I'm just trying to teach people a different way to think that can help give them an edge and ultimately help them win in life. But hey, in all seriousness, if the things I say in my Dadograms upset you too much, if you see me as part of the problem, unsubscribe from me too. Seriously, if something does not add value in your life, eliminate it. The lesson I'm getting to is simple. Outrage fills a void. Purpose crowds it out. We studied the results we saw in Iraq. When people worked, they stopped fighting. And it's true here too. When people get busy with the real life, their own important life, they stop screaming. They stop interacting with social media and looking for an online fight. So don't get suckered into the noise. Don't let the extremes define our culture. Get busy with your own life, your family, your businesses, your goals, your community. And I'd also recommend getting out during the primaries, for Pete's sakes. let's pick some strong leaders who will actually move the nation forward as opposed to yanking the wheel and pulling us into the ditch on the far right or the far left. Because the future of this country shouldn't belong to the loudest voices. It really should belong to us, the majority, the builders, the creators, the doers, to the parents raising the kids, the workers putting in the hours, the entrepreneurs starting businesses, the neighbors looking out for each other. Truly, the vast majority that is America. Let's stop wasting time on the screamers. Instead, relegate them, marginalize them. Don't respond to them. Don't argue with them. Don't build them up. Don't even pick, just unfriend them. Outrage can't compete with a meaningful life, so build one. Build a meaningful life for you and yours, and that's how you win in life. I'm Jason M. Garrett, and this is your Dadogram.